Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to the Bible and Beyond podcast. I am Louise Saint Cyr, your host. And today's topic is going to be I think it's a very timely topic because, especially for people who have difficulty saying no when they should. So today's title is, Are you under negative influence or peer pressure? I know it's a thing for especially a lot of young adults in high school, college. That's where it all began, right? At a young age, where you felt like you had to fit in, you had to follow the in crowd, you had to do what and dress and speak and act like everybody else was doing so that you can feel accepted or fit in. So you won't be bullied or looked at as the oddball. But I'm here to tell you it's okay to be an oddball. It's okay to stand out rather than trying to fit in. But if you are having issues with people in your life that are influencing you negatively, here are some clear characteristics of such individuals. Here's what they do. First, they will always lead you down the wrong road in life. They will, help you to make bad decisions, things that are not good for you. They will just lead you to trouble, essentially. That's what bad influence does. So it's important to choose your friends wisely, choose your company wisely, because they can make you or break you. Okay? My grandmother had a thing that she used to say, show me your company and I tell you who you are. That is mostly true, but it's not entirely true, because there are rare moments, situations where people, a decent someone, good person hangs out with bad crowd, but they're strong enough to not get influenced by them. Instead, they're the type that influence their environment, and they wind up changing the people in their environment. You know what I mean? And thus the environment in the entirety. But those are people that are solid as a rock in God, that nothing you do can alter them, can't change their morals. They cannot make them, go against what they stand for. Because they have that Spirit of God with them that is just so deeply rooted. They have a strong foundation. That's where it's at. And that strong foundation is a solid rock on which they stand, namely so God. And when you're standing on a solid foundation, nothing can uproot your foundation. You know what I mean? It's different than when you're standing on sinking sand. Anything like other people's opinions and looking for approval and acceptance and love from others, this is where you can get influenced by the wrong people. This is where peer pressure comes in and cause you to do things that you would normally not do. And anyone who would suggest for you to do something that will lead you to trouble, or that they know that could get you in trouble, is not a good person. That is not someone you want to follow. That is someone that you want to steer clear of in your life. So that is someone you don't want to keep company with, because that's not good company. That's bad company. Okay. 2, they always pressure you, right, into doing things, wearing things, thinking a certain way, behaving a certain way than you normally would. They want to force you into bad habits that you would not have otherwise. They want to, if they're drinking, if they're at a party or at their house and you're hanging out and they're drinking, they want to say, hey man, get a beer. And you're like, no, I don't drink. And they'll say, come on, loosen up. You really need to loosen up and have some fun. Just have a drink. I don't drink. But if you're a solid person, you'll say, I don't drink. No, thank you. That's all right. You can do your thing. I'll do mine. You'll stand firmly on what you know is best for you, irregardless of what such an individual is trying to, get you to do. So when you are somebody who think for yourself, such individuals can influence you to get into bad habits such as smoking, drinking, or doing the drugs, You will not allow anyone to, again, alter your moral codes. You will not allow anyone to make you get into things, bad habits that you wouldn't do otherwise just to fit in or to be considered cool or whatever. When being cool in such situations of following or being influenced to do the wrong thing is actually stupid. It's not cool. It's actually unwise. So beware of such individuals, okay? Because misery loves company. For sure, they're looking to drag you into the hell that they're currently experiencing. They don't want to do whatever it is that they're doing by themselves. They need company. So they don't have to look at themselves. So they don't have to pick up the mirror and look at themselves and deal with their ugly. So they don't have to change, because change is a painful or difficult thing for them. So they rather get other people to join in on their diabolical bandwagon of doing things that they know aren't good for you or them. Okay? But because, again, misery loves company, this is why they'll do that. And they love to sin. They enjoy what they're doing. They don't have the strength to make a change for the better. So they want company to join them in the mud, to join them in the swampy mires of their life. Okay, so they don't feel so alone. So they don't feel like the oddball that they are in such a situation. So they want others to join in. They corrupt and pollute others around them to join in on the ills, on the bad habits that they do. But you have to be strong and say no. Stand firmly on your moral codes. If that's not what you're about, don't do it. Just to fit in, for what? What are you going to gain from that? Nothing but trouble and sorrow. Nothing but trouble and destruction to your own very life, because you wanted to get your buddy, your girlfriend or your boyfriend to like you or accept you. No, that's okay. I'm not interested. And I hope by me taking a stance to do the right thing will encourage you to do better for yourself. That's how you do that. I'm not saying you have to leave your friend in the dust of life to find their way out of their darkness that they're in, but just don't join them in doing so. If you know that you're not strong enough to withstand such influence around you, then walk away. But if you know, I'm as solid as a rock as they come, and I can be that light of example for that individual to see differently and thus do differently for the better for themselves and everyone else around them. That's when you know where your foundation is, and come what may, you will not be shaken. You will not alter. You will not change course, okay, to fit in, to be accepted, to feel loved or whatever, because you already have that within yourself. So you can stand firmly. You know who you are, whose you are, and whence you came it from. So you will stand firmly and be able to, as I stated in the beginning, rather than your environment influencing you, then instead influence your environment for all the right reasons. 3, they're very manipulative. They play a lot of mind games, to get you into the wrong things. They only care about themselves, that which benefit them. So even if it means manipulating you or brainwashing you to get you to do the wrong thing or to go in the wrong direction of life, so as long as it's benefiting them, they don't care about the ramifications that you'll experience in your life. They're thinking about what's best for them and them only, not what's best for you too. So those type of individuals, you don't want to be around. Especially if they want to be forceful, especially if they want to be adamant, especially if they just want to be persistent about trying to get you to do the things is not good for you, which can become annoying for somebody who is solid as a rock. You like, could you just stop already? You're irritating me. You're annoying me. Like, you'll get annoyed being around individuals like that who just continuously want to try to get you to do the wrong things, I know for me that's what it does. Because I was hanging out, true experience here, not so long ago, about a month. I was hanging out with a so-called family friend of the family, someone I knew when I was a child, and I was hanging out at his house, and I look at him as a family friend, you know, and he was drinking some red wine because he said, do you drink? And I said, no, only on occasions, and it's red wine, if you know, on special occasions. That is a rare thing because I don't have much special occasions, you know, I'm not like married or in a relationship with somebody where I'm with them and we go out on dates or whatever. You know, red wine in moderation, you know. And he goes, so he decided to be very tricky and manipulative simply because I said only on occasion I would drink. And if I do, it'll be red wine. So that day when he asked me to come hang out with him at his house, guess what he had there? Red wine. And he said, oh, I got some wine, or some red wine that you say you drink. You want some? And I was like, no, I don't. He said, but you said you only drink red wine on occasion. I was like, yeah, but this is one, not an occasion, and two, I don't want any. Okay. And he kept trying to say, oh man, you just really need to chill and relax. Come on, just have a glass or two. And I said, no. Like N-O, no. And that no is solid. It's not changing. It doesn't matter what you say. Doesn't matter how many times you ask me. The answer still remains no. Okay? No means no. Which part of it don't you understand? The N or the O? And it was becoming irritating when he kept trying to insist. And I changed the subject just to say, you're annoying me. You know? Please stop. In the nicest of way. So anyway, so in situations like that, when you know you're solid as a rock in your moral standings, you know nobody can shake you and alter you and influence you to do the wrong thing, then yeah, you can be around people like that to help them see the light, okay? To pull them out of their darkness, to pull them out of their bad habits. But if they want to be a willing fool, then you leave them be. You said, nice knowing you, you know? We can't be friends because you have a whole different mindset about life than I do, and we just clash all the time, and this is just not going to work out. You just irritate me and get on my nerves. So anyway, in situations like that, hey, you just got to go your separate ways. Because again, when you know you're solid in your decisions, you're solid in your no, and they keep insisting, persons like that will only irritate you. And you're like, oh my gosh, I just said no, and I actually mean no. Like it's not going to change no matter what you say or do. Okay? So again, you have to be strong. You have to be standing on solid foundation to be able to not be moved to do things that you normally wouldn't do, to get into bad habits or be influenced by some bad behavior of someone else. You know, and when you realize that you are on the wrong path, that someone led you down the wrong path, you got to course correct. You got to realize that this is not a good thing for me. You know, I've allowed myself to be influenced by the wrong person. So it's time to course correct. And the only way you can course correct is by what? First acknowledging that you're heading down the wrong path so that you can get back on course. You get back on that narrow path with God. And being someone who's on a narrow path doesn't mean you're boring, or doesn't mean you're going to be bored. Okay? There are lots of things you can do with your time that is far more productive and positive than to be steered and lured into doing the wrong thing, going down the wrong path in life. This is what negative influence does to you when you hang around the wrong crowd, hang around the wrong person. You had a good thing going for you, and then suddenly everything went south. And it's not even just about being influenced in the physical, but also being affected spiritually by being around such negative individuals with bad energy, bad juju, bad vibes. Like it's like a chain reaction effect. The minute they step into your life, things begin to go in the wrong direction for you. Whereas before they entered, it was going going into the right direction. Their life was on an upward trajectory versus a downward one. This is when you know you're in the influence or in the circumference of a negative influence person, meaning that person is being influenced by a demonic entity. They got something attached to them that's demonic. And so it'll only bring chaotic, destructive events to unfold in your life. One after the other, you'll start losing everything. You'll take notice if you're paying attention. So just be aware that when you're around the wrong person, when you're being influenced in the physical by the wrong person, and when a spiritual force is having influence over your life trajectory, you must step away. Especially when it's a spiritual matter. That means that person is only there to bring you down. When you're influenced by the right person, as I recently posted on my timeline, the right influence will sail your ship. The wrong one will sink it. Your friends do make or break you, so choose them wisely. Oftentimes you notice that they're very selfish, they're covertly sadistic, they enjoy seeing you go through pains and sufferings, they enjoy seeing you getting into bad habits like them. They love it. Misery loves company. If you've never seen that movie, Misery Loves Company, you ought to check it out. That's real. Yeah, that's a real twister. Check it out if you've not seen it. Very good movie. One of those timeless type of movies that if you watch it once, you can watch it many times over because it's that well made, well produced, well written storyline. So they're often selfish, covertly sadistic, and unconscionable. They don't care about the trouble or the harm that they're bringing to you with their negative influence. In fact, that is your duty. They were assigned to your life to do just that. These are what you call assigned demons, to lead you down the wrong path in life, to mess you up. They saw you going in a good direction. They saw the good things that were coming to you, the blessings that were about to take root and unfold in your life, and they came to destroy it, to put a stop to it, to get you to wallow in the mud with them, to distract you. They are a dangerous level of distraction, okay, to keep you from the goodness of life, the goodness that God promised you if you upheld your side of the bargain, to do right always, to stay on course. So this is why it's important to course correct when you realize you are heading down the wrong path because you're hanging out with the wrong person or company. People like that, they get you involved in things that will land you in prison, that can get you killed even. The worst of it all. They bring you nothing but trouble. They'll even lie to you to get you involved in their mess. Steer clear of such individuals. They're nothing but trouble. Be wise, not foolish. Do not take company with fools just to be accepted or to love yourself. Love yourself, accept yourself. And you won't fall victim to such negative influences or peer pressure. Scripture says, Proverbs, specifically Proverbs 13:10, walk with the wise and become wise, for a companion of fools suffers harm. Isn't that clear? So be wise in the friends that you choose. They are not good for your overall health in mind, body, heart, soul, and spirit. They will corrode and corrupt your spirit and your soul. Okay? Here you were, a beautiful person, heading in the right direction in life, doing great in school, making the honor roll, okay? Winning awards, accolades, academic awards, okay? Good girl, good boy, suddenly gone bad. Why? Because They took company with a negative influencer. They took company with the wrong persons. They allowed peer pressure to get in on the inside of them and sink their ship. That's exactly what happened. So be wise not to take company with such individuals, because they'll bring you nothing but trouble. And final scripture that I'll touch on here regarding this negative influence. Wow, it got really dark in here suddenly. Let's see if I can read this, guys. I think it's in Galatians 5, and Paul explains how such mistakes of being influenced by the wrong people can halt our spiritual progress. Indeed, you are running a good race. Like I said, you're on a good path of life. You are running the good race, he says. Now, the question is, who cut in on you to keep you from obeying the truth? That kind of persuasion, in fact, it is persuasion. Influence is persuasion. Persuasion is influence. Does not come from the one who calls you. It comes from the one who wants to mislead you, the one who wants to destroy you, the enemy of us all. So, God, who desires obedience, never leads us away from truth and into confusion. And I'm going to add to it, or destruction. God came what? To give us life and life abundantly. To bless us. Okay? Not to harm us. That's what God is here to do. That's the difference between the right influence and the wrong influence. You'll see the difference clearly. That they are only here to cause you nothing but trouble and destruction and chaos. Okay, you can't think clearly. Certainly you're no longer thinking for yourself, because you're allowing your thoughts to be influenced by a negative force that only wants to self-destruct you, that only wants to lead you to death and destruction, essentially. So with that, guys, I will close out here. That's all she wrote for today's topic. If you'd like, again, to add to what I said, don't feel free to leave it in the comment section below. And per usual, don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you don't miss when I post my videos, the next one. Until next time, be good to yourself and each other. Ciao, adios, au revoir, goodbye, my loves.